Good afternoon, everyone. This is the pasta coma hour, the time when everyone is digesting and it's the most difficult to stay awake, so I'll try to do my best. I did not bring in any fancy videos. I did not bring any moving maps. So I'll try to keep you awake just by the story I'm going to tell. And maybe I'll start by introducing myself because I'm quite new to this industry. I've been in this industry only for about a year and a month now. So by background, I'm a chemical engineer. I spent my life first in strategy consulting, then in the chemicals industry where I was a plant manager. I managed a chemical plant. Then I was in sales. I was selling gelatin all over the world. And I was in mining and minerals. I was in the US for a couple of years managing mining operations in the US. And then back as a chief innovation officer at the headquarters of a lime plant, of a lime company, actually. So, and now, since a year and a month, I'm with Agfa. Most of you know Agfa. I'm heading the division Digital Print and Chemicals. So today, Agfa has 4 divisions. And Agfa is what we call in French, une vieille dame, an old lady. 155 years of history. Started all with film, long history in graphics. And today, 4 divisions. Most of it still linked somewhat to graphics. So we have an offset division, we have a radiology division, we have a healthcare IT, which is really the software to manage all the images in the hospital. And then we have the division I'm leading, which is Digital Print and Chemicals. And in Digital Print and Chemicals, I won't bother you with all the details that we have in there, but we have Inkjet, and we have another actually great sustainability story, which is green hydrogen membranes, where we are actually the world leader. I could probably spend another hour on that one, but I won't do that today. That will be for another conference in another place. Agfa today is about 6,500 people. 1.8 billion turnover. Headquarters is that picture you see there in Mortsel in Belgium. And digital print Inkjet is one of the growth engines, one of the businesses in which we want to invest. Now today I'm not here to unveil any new product just yet. I hope to do that soon. I actually will go over our product portfolio, but I'm not here to sell any product. I'll be happy to take any orders if you want at the end, but no, that's not what I'm going to do. Actually, I want to plead for something. I want to plead for how can we accelerate digital printing into industrial solutions. I heard a lot today, this morning, this afternoon, from our competition, from other players in the field on innovation, on what we can do to accelerate and to move industrial players into digital. Coming from chemicals, coming from minerals, innovation is a little bit the same everywhere. Probably are familiar with TRLs, technological readiness levels. People, yes, no? 1 to 9, levels 1 to 9. In my experience, levels 1 to 9 also means about 9 years to bring something to market. It always takes, and that's the 222 rule, that's another rule with innovation. Every time you do an innovation, it takes twice the amount of time you thought it would take, twice the cost, and it brings you half of what you thought it would bring you. So that's kind of a general rule with innovation. The only place where I've seen that shortened is in software, but all the rest, really, it always takes a lot of time. So I think for us as an industry, and here I like the presentations by Bobst and by EFI and so on. Really, EFI, we are competition, but we are not competition. I think in this industry, we have a common role to move the industry from analog printing to digital printing. And that's something we actually really need to do together as players, by making sure that there's solid solutions out there that customers can choose and that we all accelerate this growth to going digital. I think we're all saying the same in terms of all the benefits that digital print is bringing, but it's a challenge to bring the customers there. So I just wanted to touch on a few points in my presentation here. This is our current hardware lineup, and there's a couple of new babies. There's babies, they're actually quite large babies in there. Here at the bottom, this is our historical base of products. We've been in sign and display, typical applications for quite some time, with what we call our mid to low end, the Annapurnas, the Oberons. With our jet eyes, we've been in the mid to high end, with solutions that go up to 600 square meters an hour. And now with the acquisition of Inca, we're very proud of that, by the way, of the team we're acquiring. It's a great team that we're acquiring, and it's great complementarity between the two companies there. We are adding all of this here at the top of the pyramid. We're adding the onset, which is an existing product, but goes about twice the speed and the size of our existing portfolio. Still a lot of that geared towards sign and display, but a lot of those customers are already going actually into packaging industrial applications. And then here at the top, you have two really very different animals. The speed set, it's a times 10 in terms of speed. So there we're talking single pass, we're talking water-based. On our end, we are talking UV-based on all these applications, or all these products or solutions, I should say. And then our two single pass products, solutions that we're developing are fully water-based. And at the very top, we have the print engine, which we are developing with our partner BHS, adding another step in terms of speed and size. These are the markets that we believe will be growing, and you've seen a lot of numbers already today, so I'm not going to throw those again at you, but we all believe that those bubbles, you've seen those bubble sizes in the previous charts as well. These bubbles are huge, these markets are huge, but the adoption rate today is really, really low. These markets are at 1, 2, 3, 4% digital, all the rest is being analog printed still. Even if all the customers are really convinced, yes, we are going to go digital. Some of our customers, one of our partners is sitting in the room here, they say all of our new designs are going to be fully digital. And still it takes a lot of time for that to happen and make its way to the market. So my question is, how can we make that happen? Now, at Agfa, we actually focus on three. If we think about industrial segments, we focus on three segments. These are our historical segments: sign and display, soft signage, outdoor signage, indoor signage. But the three big segments that we're, well, two big and one smaller niche segment, I should say, we're focusing on is folding carton and corrugated. So everything that's carton and cardboard related, that's the biggest bubble, and that is going to be an important one for us in the future, with, again, very low adoption of digital today. Everything that is decor related, and we'll go a bit more in detail on this one in the coming slides. Also this one, very low in digital today. All the advantages are there, just like for the other, in terms of flexibility, in terms of being close to your markets, having much more flexibility and personalization and so on. And then leather decoration, which is a niche where we focus on the high end, where we have a specialized solution with the high IP protection, and which brings also, therefore, leather printing, again, many advantages in terms of flexes and so on, meeting the highest standards of Louis Vuitton and alike. So for those of you who are lucky enough to have a Louis Vuitton bag, you probably have Agfa inside. I think I'm not the first one today to say that we're providing full solutions. Probably it is because it makes sense to the customers. And we do believe that this is really the way to go. Our customers, especially in industrial applications, they're not looking for an ink. They're not looking for a printer. They actually want you to come into their industrial flow, into their existing supply chain, into their existing plants, and not sell a printer. They want you to come in and say, how are you going to, with a minimum of hassle and a maximum of efficacy, how are you going to solve my issue and get me a solution that works? And that is, I think, what we need to do as an industry, is to make sure that when we develop solutions, we make sure that we understand our customer's process, we go in there, and then we find something, make something that works in the existing process as much as possible. Going from analog to digital, it will take some adaptations, but making sure that you can adapt as much as possible into an existing flow. And full solutions, of course, for us means ink, equipment, software, and the service. This is just a graph to illustrate for decor printing. How much of this market is today being digitally printed? And it's less, I even think that these numbers are inflated. Most of it, by far, are gravure printed. Less than 5%, I think it's even far less than 5% today, is digitally printed. The advantages are obvious, and still this market is taking a long time to take off. And this is just, look, this is what I'm talking about in terms of the process. And this is what we try to do when we develop a new solution, is go into our customer's process, be the leather tannery for our leather solutions that we have. A leather tannery is very, very different, or printing on leather is very different versus printing on corrugated board. And if you just come in with a printer and say, hey, we know ink and we know print heads and jetting so well, that's not enough. You need to be able to go into an existing process and really fit in. A typical plant, won't go through all the process steps, but depending on the different substrates you're printing on, we have different solutions. We actually have our own full solution for, let's say, smaller scale throughputs, and then we do work together with KB, with our own inks, to be able to do the full scale all the way from small to up to 100 million square meters a year. But in the end, you're all talking about the same product, and you're talking about huge production lines where one of these plants costs 150 million in capex. In analog printing, you're talking 15, 20, 30 million in working capital sitting there in gravure rolls and in the end product that is working capital. With digital printing, all of this goes away. So the advantages are really very clear, and I think a couple of the front runners in the industry are taking the leap and saying, yes, this is where we want to go, but it is taking a lot of time. And the challenge for us is to make sure that we integrate in these processes and make sure we make a solution that fits there. That's what I was saying. So when we say we're a solution provider, it is in the end, of course, a press, a printer. It is the inks, it is the service, because depending on the industry, you will need to be 24/7. Other industries can live with a little bit less. And it is the software, where we also have strong solutions to make sure that we adapt to what the customer needs. Probably not very different from others are saying, but again, this is what our customer needs to make that jump to digital. And this is what I said in the beginning, and we'd like not to have a fixed mindset. Actually, Agfa was known in the past as, in many occasions, being a pioneer in terms of innovation. I think from time to time, and this is well before my time, but we have been too early. We were the first company on the globe with a single pass, an industrial single pass printer. We were probably 10 years too early. We had a good technical product, but we were 10 years too early. That's a very expensive mistake, let's say. But some of us have to make those mistakes to make the whole industry progress. Today, we want to make sure that we're there at the right time, but we still want to be pioneers and still want to make sure that we innovate. And we should do it as an industry to make sure that our customers adapt. So today, with the growth mindset, we did buy Inka, adding a lot of important technology, we believe, to go into this single-pass, water-based technology to cater the packaging markets that are going to go digital, and we want to be an important player in that. So, just one last slide on sustainability. I do believe that sustainability is much more than a buzzword, and this is just a couple of examples of things that we're doing as a company. And to give you one example, in Inkjet, we spend more than 12% of our sales on R&D, which is a lot. I know that in this industry, a lot of people spend a lot on R&D. We spend more than 12%, which is quite a lot. More than 20% of that 12 is actually on sustainability today, mostly on sustainable inks. And guess what? It is things where my sales teams tell me it's not something that the customer wants today, and he sure isn't going to pay extra for it today. And still we do it, because we believe it is a necessity to be there tomorrow and the day after. Today the market isn't fully ready to pay for it yet, but we absolutely have to do it as well. So a couple of other examples that we're doing. We're dropping our CO2. Yes, I come actually from a company where we were about the same size in revenue. We were emitting 100 times, literally 100 times more CO2. So in terms of CO2 footprint, I don't believe that that's the major focus point for this industry. There's, at least not on scope 1, scope 2. It's more about what can you do for the footprint of your customers and your end customers. And as a company, one of the important things we do as well, as I said in the beginning, is in green hydrogen. There we have a leading role. So more about that if you want to read about it on our website. But we're actually the world leader in membranes for alkaline electrolysis, which is going to be the most important technology to make green hydrogen. We can't print it. That's a pity, but it is an important technology for us as well.